Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, LCK Summer 2019. We're here for the final match of Week 4 before Rift Rivals, and both of these teams are going to be playing. Second place is GRIFFIN, and third place will be Kingzone DragonX, and that is, in fact, where they're sitting at the standings right now. Of course, the current standings.
Right, I have right
and
here.
also in the Rift Rivals. Oh, he's looking at the script again, guys. You're not supposed to give that away yet. We trusted you with this. Come on, man. You're allowed to hold all the cards, you know, and see the script, but you're not allowed to announce it. Come on.
Can't believe you would do this to me. Can't believe it.
Well, Sandbox currently leading, but that is largely a technicality at this point in time.
Only until about 9:30 p.m.
Well, that's what a lot of people will be thinking, because GRIFFIN have been on a tear, and Kingzone have been somewhat floundering. They lost games to both the FLICKR Freaks and Tahm Gaming recently, but they only won against Hanwha Life and Jin Green Wings, and the Hanwha Life series wasn't convincing, losing game number 1 and then having to have some pretty impressive performances in individual plays in order to get them back in that series, notably Rascal's solo kill onto Tahm. Top side of the map in his Nico versus Vladimir matchup was impressive, but we haven't necessarily seen the coordination and team play that we want out of Kingzone DragonX, and we have seen it out of GRIFFIN.
Yeah, and let's take a look at some of the points of the match here. Final checkup before the Rift Rivals. Who will continue their momentum? Followed by 4 matches, 8-set winning streak for GRIFFIN. They can reclaim the first place by defeating Kingzone and Flexible and Creative Kingzone versus We Weren't Wrong GRIFFIN. Looking forward to the draft fight as well.
Yeah, I think the drafting is actually going to be really interesting here, because what does Kingzone ban away from GRIFFIN? Because GRIFFIN have proven that they can play basically everything, and they've also proven that they're basically the team that when they get Yuumi, they win the game. And there aren't as many teams that are like that. Wow. GRIFFIN will be on our red side this time. We'll see whether there's going to be a blue side Yuumi ban.
Okay, I mean, the game's decided at the first turret.
Well, I guess we just have to keep our eye on that.
Just gonna keep our eye on if GRIFFIN get the first turret, they will win. And apparently, win rate with first dragon, so either one is going to be okay.
Kingzones are sort of a bit all over the place at the moment when it comes to those particular win rates. First turret, they have managed to claim quite a few victories on, but we're going to have a look at some of the highlights here from their Hanwha series. And Deft and TusiN certainly were still good. I really did like the Tarek pickup here. TusiN making it look pretty easy as, yeah, you can't flash away from an auto attack, buddy. That's bad news bears.
He also flashed in a straight line.
Yeah.
A little bit interesting.
And this was a huge performance out of Naehyun on this Corki. He had a rough series, actually, before this moment, and then went ultra legendary on this pickup, ignoring that Sun turret pretty comfortably. In we go.
All right. Little Shurima shuffle action going on right there. Azir finally doing something as TusiN goes over the wall to help take down Lava.
Fun to see one of the original counters to the Azir as well, and the Vel'Koz being picked up by Lava despite not having the victory. As here's some GRIFFIN highlights, and Viper has been probably the most disgusting Sona that we've had so far in the LCK. Not the winningest. I believe winningest still goes to Nuclear, who has 3-0, but yeah, Tarzan just does things on Sona that are pretty illegal, really.
And Sword managing to turn that around, 1 versus 2.
And that the most recent series was actually a lot about Sword and him getting some pretty sweet outplays against Linderung, who is no slouch. Of course, in different teams at different times, Linderung has been impressive, and moving into the spring season at the beginning of the year, a lot of us were like, well, you know, Genera have made themselves a roster. Unfortunately, it hasn't come to fruition, and this is going to be our key matchup here. Cuzz versus Tarzan, and a lot of firsts over Cuzz's side. Does this make him the best jungler? I don't know whether that could be true just yet.
No.
He's been farming a lot.
He has been farming quite a bit. Yeah, been farming quite a bit. Tarzan, though, KP at 15, he's not a team player.
No.
9.
Oh, I mean, he's 64.4% team player. That's a bit over half. If I was rounding,
we're rounding again.
If I was rounding, that's 100% right there. That's definitely. You round to the nearest 100, I think, is how
All right.
participation works.
All right. Glad to know.
But 78.6 is actually huge for Cuzz. He has been a linchpin here for Kingzone DragonX, which means that they live or die by this gentleman. We're going to see both of the teams make their way out, and of course, probably the two squads where we know what the roster is going to be. Absolutely, of course, Kingzone with 0 subs and GRIFFIN having not used any of theirs just yet. Haven't seen good old Cabby or Doran just yet. Doran, of course, very young player and very talented player that we saw in the Kesper Cup earlier in the year.
I actually know their support player too.
Yeah, good old Cabby.
I coached him, last summer. He was a part of the KG team.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, in fact, so was Doran.
Yeah.
A lot of those Kesper Cup teams have a lot of players that are very famous now. You know, in the past, you know, Khan played for a KG squad.
He did.
Few other big names.
He was warming the bench in China on an LSPL team. He had an offer to go play for the legendary Team Gates in North America. Almost happened, by the way. Then he ended up coming to the LCK.
Exciting stuff. And I mean, that's pseudo-relevant because he was formerly a Kingzone DragonX player.
Yeah.
So applies to this game as we're going to introduce GRIFFIN out into LOL Park. CV Max there, bringing up the rear. As this squad has been so incredibly good. Especially in their recent games, they have not allowed any room for anyone to make any comebacks. It's been really scary to watch.
Well, this is going to be a battle of juggernauts for the most part here in LCK, and we'll see if GRIFFIN does remain as dominant as they have been. The meta's been pretty stagnant in LCK for the last couple of weeks, but GRIFFIN definitely has been exciting, and also Cuzz, one of the first people to step out of the traditional jungle meta.
Yeah.
One of the first junglers in the region to do so.
Yeah, being able to pick up some interesting things. Of course, most notably, playing more Karthus than most others, but he had an Urgot jungle game, which is certainly a strange one. This is your GRIFFIN roster, though, and I think the top lane is going to be an important one here, because Sword has been playing much better over their most recent games.
Spin wheel.
That is adorable.
That's like the. What
Are we
was it?
spin
Was it
wheeling to
CLG?
see who picks up the MVP because you never really know because they all play so well?
Ooh, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll see where the Wheel of Fortune is going to land. That particular fan thought that Viper was going to be picking it up, and honestly, he has been the MVP for me for GRIFFIN so far this season, which is so cool, right? Because in spring season, it wasn't really about Viper at all. It was about Chovy being so good, Tarzan controlling the map so well. It wasn't really about the bottom lane, but now that we've moved to a meta that does certainly favor bottom lane a little bit more, we have seen Viper rise to the top, and now he's up against some real stiff competition in Deft and TusiN, arguments for best bottom lane in the LCK, but have been not necessarily finding the same levels of success in recent weeks. So we'll see whether they can turn that one around here in their biggest test of the first round robin, and it's the final match as well.
What do you reckon the red side bans are going to be? Atlas,
Karma, Sejuani, and Tahm Kench, I reckon.
Wow.
I know, it is out of control. As Kingzone DragonX are going to ban away two of Deft's most successful champions of all time. So that's interesting. Viper, though, has most recently had an absolutly outrageous Ezreal performance. Yeah, okay.
You lied to me.
Corki going to be banned. And
why would you do that?
Well, it's because you turned the script upside down, and now I can't read it. Because you were sulking after I was mean to you about the script earlier on. That's what it is.
Okay. Well, Jace now not going to be the defender of tomorrow, as he is.
He might be the defender of tomorrow, but he's not going to be the defender of today.
I see what you did there. Oh, man.
Well, one final ban remains. Sejuani will be picked first, if it's not banned here. But then what does GRIFFIN get in response? Rek'Sai is banned, of all champions.
You lied to me about Sejuani.
Well, I mean, it's going to be picked.
Okay.
What?
You lied to me again.
Oh my goodness. Kingzone really respecting the Sona Tahm Kench to a ludicrous level. As now GRIFFIN have a pretty insane red side first round draft. They could go.
We won't get Sejuani, okay?
What if they just logged in Aatrox Lux here that they would have been able to get anyway? Aatrox. Aatrox?
Yeah.
Aatrox.
You know what? I actually wanted to talk with you about this.
Oh yeah, I've been saying it wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, man. I'm just
Yuumi is
my
locked
Australian
in, but
accent.
you know what? Hey, say Aaron.
Aaron.
Exactly. Not Aaron.
Aaron.
Aaron. I see what you did there.
Well, Cuzz is going to
Zhao.
take this in, and there's the Sona Tahm Kench bottom lane. The Yuumi has been a problem for some of these Sona lanes, and we'll see how aggressive Viper's choice is going to be into this one as well. Feels like Kingzone have done what they wanted to do, but picking the Xin when the Sejuani was on the board is just crazy to me.
Well, this is interesting. The Vladimir ultimate against this team composition, Sona and Tahm. A little bit of a bewildering pick, but we'll see how Griffin wants to ride out the remainder of this ban pick. As we're going to have to see what they want to do. They're probably going to pinch the top champion pool, most likely. Actually, instead, electing to ban away the Lulu.
Well, I assume this is going to be Lulu Nico banned away from Naehyun, but Lulu is an odd one. I just don't know whether she necessarily synergizes fantastically well with Sona Tahm Kench.
Yeah.
And Nico does extraordinarily well.
Right.
It looks like that Griffin does have both of their solo lanes. They will be able to get a Sejuani after this if Kingzone don't ban it away here. But this has just been a very strange draft so far with so many things left open and then the answers being really, really weird. As Camille's going to be taken off the board. Rascal has had success on the champion so far this season, but it's very strange. Elise is going to hit the bench, and Tarzan not going to see that champion. But I guess he's raising his eyebrows like that. He's like, well, I mean, Sejuani's up, guys. Is the Xin's out matchup into Sejuani, like, too good for the Xin or something like that? Is there something that we're missing here as far as the Sejuani being not picked? Because this makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. Sej now ends up getting through.
Okay.
Which is a little bit surprising, but I suppose when you have the Tahm, you can just eat an ally out. So...
yeah, so if the Glacial Prison comes in, you can just get them to safety. But, I mean, that was always going to be the case, and that's been... the Sejuani's been picked in power scenarios into that anyways.
AD!
All right!
Twisted Fate.
Finally! This has been all over solo queue for so long.
It has.
Oh, is the Darius going to get locked in as well? Let's just do it, guys. All right.
This would be one of the most aggressive team compositions that we've seen in the LCK. And for those that maybe are tuning in...
well, Kled's going to fit into that one as well, as we're going to be able to charge our way in.
Kled is really good against Aatrox up in the top lane. He's actually one of the original counters to him.
Yeah.
And with the Twisted Fate being AD, he can actually fare pretty well against the Vladimir, unless Griffin want to do a complete turnaround and send the Vladimir with the Yuumi into the bottom lane.
Well, that is likely what they're doing, and
like
Viper he was the best Vladimir on this team.
Right, so this could potentially be really scary. And this is an extremely explosive, aggressive draft. This is truly not what you would expect out of two Korean teams. And for those that are looking at this and wondering if this Twisted Fate is going to be piloted similar to He Who Shall Not Be Named, aka the Voldemort of League of Legends, no, this is the AD one. This is the on-hit, popularized by a European player. I think his ID was Jebsu. And it goes Kleptomancy, attack, Trinity Force.
And you can build Wits End, you can build all sorts of things after that. Generally, Trinity Force is going to be your first option. And then it depends what you're leaning against from there. But Irelia into TF sounds like an awful time to be Twisted Fate.
Yeah. And we'll have to see what they're going to try to do, because this game is really, really decided by the early game for both of these teams. They drafted for edges in every single board. They were playing blow for blow in the draft phase. This isn't something that we normally get to see in Korean League of Legends, but we're having it here tonight.
Yeah, and we actually highlighted this in our points of the match earlier on, is that the draft is going to be very important, and already some craziness has come out. First time that we're seeing the AD Twisted Fate in the LCK was it was a plague on solo queue for a long time. And of course, if you were watching NAEU Rift Rivals, it was played to pretty great effect in the very first match over there. In fact, Caps getting some great performances, but it's an exciting draft. Let's see how it's going to play out as we get onto Summoner's Rift for our final match of the week and our final match before Rift Rivals. Damn. That is one of the biggest Griffin cheers that I've seen for a really long time, and I have a bit of a spoiler, guys. I had a look at the script again, and yes, it's sepia mode for the beginning of this one.
Right here.
Yeah,
on the script, right?
I know, I can see it.
So, this is a pretty interesting team composition. They have the Brawler passive.
Yeah, okay.
On the side.
All right, we've got an accidental monitor turn-off.
That's new.
That's
a pretty strong ability.
That's a whoopsie.
That's a bug, but we are in beta.
Yeah, we're in beta, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's weird because, you know, we don't have access to Nocturne yet, and I feel like his ultimate just got utilized pretty effectively onto that monitor. He was, I think he was fiddling with the monitor and knocked out one of the cables by accident. So we're going to have a full tech crew come over and replace his monitor.
Out of all the champions in the game right now, which would you like in Teamfight Tactics first?
Well, Mordekaiser's already there, so I'm not exactly...
No, in this game, Atlas.
Wait, in this game of Teamfight Tactics?
No, in this game of League of Legends.
Right.
Between Kingzone and Griffin.
So which one of the champions in this game do I want in Teamfight Tactics? Kled. I think Kled would be really fun. I think he'd be a pirate.
Oh, he'd probably... Yeah, he would. Pirates need some love.
And it does give us another pirate, which is cool.
That would be really cool. And then...
He won't have an ability. He just has the Skull thing.
Yeah.
And then charges back Skull again, and then you jump back on.
And he can regain Skull.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
And it'd work a little bit like, you know, GP or Cassidy
I like it. Okay.
But I don't know what... He'd be a pirate in something. Maybe be a pirate wild? Maybe pirate wild could be a thing. He seems a bit wild.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely wild. He's rowdy. Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's an excellent choice. I would love Sona.
I think Sona would be cool.
Yeah, she just heals everyone. That'd be cool. That'd be fun.
That sounds interactive.
Yeah.
That sounds like a that sounds like an LS champion choice right there.
It is.
Yeah. When LS is getting excited about a video game, that's when I know that I probably want to step away from the video game for a while.
It means other people aren't having fun.
There is a really anti-fun game-breaking bug in this game. I love it. Oh, thanks, LS. Now I know what game not to play.
I am personally a fan of Double Shojin Pike.
I know you are. Oh, no. Although bugged a little bit at the moment, so you don't want to go Seraphs instead?
Yeah, I believe, we were talking about that.
Yeah, we're having a discussion.
I've been playing Pike for about a week.
You have been addicted to playing economy pirates.
Yeah. Since before it was cool.
Yeah.
Definitely a fan of Captain Jack Sparrow.
Me too.
Meanwhile, down here in the bottom lane, Yuumi, she's with the Vladimir this game. Probably not used to that.
Yeah,
what if she's afraid of blood?
It's a different one. Yeah, she might be.
We don't even know.
A hemophobe hanging out with a hemomancer sounds like a bad time. But if you're a cat, I mean, generally carnivorous. So therefore, blood probably not a big deal.
Okay.
It's just me, though.
All right, well, Tarzan starting off with a relatively safe path, not trying to go too greedy, and meanwhile, Cuzz clearing his entire blue side jungle before transitioning into his red. And if your intention isn't to gank right away, I'm always a little bit perplexed why junglers will immediately capture the camp.
Maybe wanting to set up for a better timing after the Robbie game? I don't know.
Yeah. It is a little bit interesting. A little bit of lost opportunity on the buff durations.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So,
unless he heads straight into the mid lane and tries to punish Chovy.
Gets intel that Sejuani has not started or completed.
Also, they can see her on a ward.
Yeah, they can see her on a ward. That is helpful.
Yeah, Chovy comes on over. He has control of this lane, so therefore the Rift Scuttler is going to be easily secured by the Sedge.
You know, I actually said that this would be the on-hit Twisted Fate. We'll see if it ends up actually
Ooh,
going
yeah,
that way,
'cause
as he
that's
has
unsealed
he has
spellbook.
the unsealed spellbook. So I'm curious if we will see an AP Twisted Fate, which is
That
still
is the
commonly
Twisted Fate.
used
Yeah, we
by
had seen.
Voldemort. So
Yeah.
we
But I mean, of course, Voldemort's playing it. That was
Yeah.
his champion.
right.
Well, Lava was the last one to play it. A long time ago. In fact,
A year?
exactly a year ago.
Oh, did we have a leap year? No, we didn't.
No, I don't
right?
think
Leap
so.
year's next year.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Okay.
That's when,
excellent.
if your birthday is on February the 29th, you are a very lucky person.
Did you ever know anyone with that birthday?
No, I did love Pirates of Penzance. Was one of my favorite plays, and his birthday was then, so he was technically a little boy. When he wasn't actually, it was Gilbert and Sullivan.
That would
Just a
actually be really
fantastic
cool
play,
to
really.
be born on that day.
You reckon it'd be cool? You'd stay very young.
Yeah, that's really weird.
I don't know whether it necessarily works that way in reality, but in theory, you just wouldn't have that many birthdays.
Yeah. Well, I had a kid in my high school class that was born on that day,
Oh, really?
and he would basically alternate
yeah, you
whether
just
yeah,
change it to the
February
28th or,
or
something.
March
Yeah.
1st.
I like to think that all of May is my birthday. That's what I
Yeah?
say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't mind. Every day's your birthday
Yeah.
to me.
Aw. Thanks, LS.
You're welcome.
That's why I've got all the gifts.
Yep.
Yeah. I just thought you were a bit weird. But, that's why you give me a present every day. That's really cool.
It's alright.
It's my birthday. All right. Well, Tarzan was thinking about doing some counter jungling. Decides against it. As both Xin and Sejuani they're similar in the fact that their W is one of those weird line skill shots. The Wind Becomes Lightning and the Winter's Wrath are both very similar.
Yeah,
in,
they are.
How the abilities work.
They are.
That's cool. Bit of synergy there between both junglers this game, and the synergy is going to continue with the items that they've picked up, as well as their CS margins.
Speaking about synergy, I thought that I would drop some of our casters right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What skin do you think I'm envisioning for Kled?
What skin? Like new skin?
Yeah, a skin that they could make. How about, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Mario riding Yoshi.
Oh my god, that's amazing! And we've already got King Rammus.
I'll be here all night.
Like, surely the trademark hasn't been
Then you just
locked in.
You just gotta get a Princess Peach Janna.
Oh yeah,
That's a team composition if I've seen.
that's extraordinary. We need that. Actually, you could get Princess Peach and you could make it a Sejuani skin and they're riding Kirby. That would be pretty good. That'd be pretty good.
You're really good at this.
Oh, thanks, dude.
All right.
I can expect it.
It is
Expect
gonna
another
be
present.
AP Twisted Fate.
Yeah, Naehyun
So-
has decided to go that way instead.
We're gonna catch a glimpse of a very old champion here in the
Also a very old build as well. I think this
Yeah.
is the Voldemort build coming in with the Rod of Ages potentially.
Yep.
Very interesting.
So we shall see how this ends up panning out. One of the reasons that Twisted Fate started to drop off in popularity, Wave Player got hit a very long time ago. And in addition to that, it became easier for pro players to play around the Destiny Gate Ultimate as players just got better at the game.
Yep. And often, when it comes to Twisted Fate, if your first Destiny doesn't pay off,
Yeah.
you're not a champion anymore.
Right.
And it was too hard to get back into a game after that first one failed, and too many of them were failing, and we just didn't see very much of it. And that's why he hasn't been played for a year, and when he was played a year ago, it was a loss.
And even in solo queue, while there's been some mimics of Voldemort, for the most part, he was the only player to really make it work consistently and climb to the absolute highest tiers
Yeah.
of the ladder.
Was a bit of an exceptional player, just in general. But I see your point. Maybe it's time for Dade to come back. Because, Twisted
He's in
Fate...
Diamond.
Oh, so sad. You know, I followed him to China when he moved over there. We were playing for Masters 3. Yeah,
That's a blast from the past.
yeah, it's a good time. Since the final chapter was read to death, and he just didn't listen. He wandered under his turret, and he's going to be absolutely fine.
And so far, we're not getting that chaotic of an opening, which it's going to definitely benefit Griffin because the Kled, the Zhao, the TF, they wanted to get ahead. And you can see that Naehyun's having a little bit of difficulty in this lane. He's already down about 15 CS. And I say that because this wave's coming in. We assume that he's going to eat most of it. You can see the wild cards come in.
Yeah, he's going to be able to clear it up. But I feel like this game's really strange from a scaling perspective, isn't it? Because we have the Sona Tahm Kench that are messing things up on the King's own side.
Yeah, Sona Tahm Kench is so powerful, but it's really going to come down to the team fights and the engages. It's going to matter how early, who pulls the trigger first between Viper and Deft and TusiN. That's going to really impact a lot of the engages. But the problem is that Kled and Xin are going to be in quite a predicament in the later stages. And given that this is going to be an AP Twisted Fate, he will hit and have the Siege and Poke potency available to him. But I don't know how that's going to actually transition or work inside of this Sona Tahm Kench team composition, because this is not the type of champion I would imagine you would combo with this, as Cuzz looks to try to make something happen down here in bottom, but he's just not going to find it.
Yeah, walks over a ward. Deft has completed the quest. He completed it, I believe, before 8 minutes, which is certainly on a great clip.
Yeah, it's not Teddy level.
Yeah, certainly not Teddy level. That's the 20-minute mark. But Viper level is around 7.
Some say he still hasn't finished it.
Yeah, some say he's still looking for someone to auto-attack and get some spells procs out.
All right.
I'm not entirely sure whether it's been achieved just yet. I think King's Own have some vision around this Drake.
Well, all that we really have to watch here, Atlas, is remember the first turret or the first dragon.
That's right.
If either one go down, we can just go next.
Yeah, well, if Griffin gets one, right? As Final Chapter once again going to come in. That's a great snare. Oh, God, Cuzz just going to get obliterated. TusiN did nom Deft, but he's going to be also consumed by the members of Griffin. Goes down after the crescendo. It was a song and a dance, but it was definitely in favor of Griffin here, as Naehyun will get some time with this turret. Takes himself down a plate, but this is going to be that first nail in the coffin. Like you were saying, LS, whoever takes first dragon, likely to win the game.
I mean, it's already over.
Yep, Griffin take it.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it, so.
It's really weird, though, because this is sort of a battle of two compositions that are very strong, as we're going to see the replay here. Because you've got that Sejuani Irelia combo that we can see right here just absolutely tore Cuzz apart.
Yeah, Cuzz got blown up, and right here, TusiN, he had to leave Deft. He knew that if he tried to save him, they would both end up dying.
Yeah.
And so Thomas was not having any of that, as he just walked away from that. Rod of Age is now completed for Twisted Fate.
Yeah, he's got himself his stopwatch online. Execution is calling done for Rascal as well up against Sword. Laning phase is going to get more difficult, and as you can see, almost has towards a 20 CS advantage, but that's because Sword is making his way back to lane the old-fashioned way, using his legs. Now coming on over to punish Shelly, as a teleport is going to be utilized from Deft, just to make sure that King's Own can confirm this. And now the weird thing is going to be is that Griffin, 100% win rate with first Drake, but what about first turret? That is King's Own with a pretty high win rate in that regard also. So which win rate is going to be the most powerful, I guess, is the question, so as King's Own put down Shelly top.
The unstoppable force versus the immovable object?
I think it might have something to do with that. No malfights needed.
Teleport actually coming in, and Griffin might just want to take a big team fight.
No, none of the turret plates actually able to be claimed by Shelly just there. King's Own, bit of a disaster.
Not getting the most impactful value here, as Naehyun, he's still trying to make work of that mid lane. Kled ulting in.
That's a very aggressive Abyssal Voyage as Rascal dives underneath the turret sword. Probably not going to be getting a reset on this one, but Tarzan is able to get himself out to relative safety. Okay, TusiN underneath the turret has to flash himself away. Deft was tanking the turret for a moment as the crescendo lands. Final chapter is taken. And TusiN is going to get taken down. Rascal, though, will be able to take out Sword. World Ender not actually available as Viper goes into the Sanguine Pool. And Cuzz will be taken down. Now Naehyun gets the stun card, but not going to be able to land the stun just yet. That's a stopwatch that I would definitely love to pick up for myself. Let me know what shop you bought that one from, Naehyun. That was amazing.
Naehyun just jebaited him. That's what just ended up happening right there.
150% jebaited.
150%.
That's not a
the
roundup,
worst
by the way.
feeling
That wasn't a roundup.
in solo queue. When you go to dive someone and they have stopwatch and you just completely blanked on it.
Yep.
As we take a look at how this all transpires, the Kled ultimate comes out. They think they're going to pick themselves up a free kill on Chovy, but Chuck Testa, Aatrox, and Sejuani both there. One spellcaster minion remaining on the turret ends up going down, and then Deft, he's tanking a lot of damage. He was under a lot of fire from that turret. Viper coming in here into the fight, gets exhausted there by Naehyun, had that available from the spellbook. And despite Sword going down, everything was cleaned up by GRIFFIN quite handily until Viper just went a little bit too far forward.
Yeah, Naehyun's going to survive that one, so 1-0-0 now. On the Twisted Fate, goes back. I wonder whether it is going to be a, might be a Banshee's Veil coming in first. Fiendish Codex is there, but we'll see what he does actually decide to purchase.
He sold his stopwatch.
Yeah, he did. So I was looking at that Fiendish Codex thinking that it would be a Zhonya's, but he did sell his stopwatch.
So it looks like he's not valuing the Zhonya's Hourglass. Perhaps considering that realistically, if any of the GRIFFIN members are on top of him in the later stages of the game, he's probably already dead anyway.
Yep, that might be a
Twisted
decent
Fate
point.
isn't really a champion that normally has ways of getting his way out of post-Zhonya situations.
Yep. Well, TusiN, he's got a spellbook as well that's unsealed. In fact, a couple of them over on King's own side. He teleports towards the top side.
If it's on cooldown, is it sealed?
Maybe. Maybe it's the sealed spellbook now.
Yeah.
But it's hard to check what that cooldown is, so I think we might just have to say that it's unsealed.
Okay.
Otherwise, we might just find ourselves being wrong all the time. Archangel Staff now completed for Deft. Wants that Seraph's transformation ASAP. He's doing his best to farm his way up, but at the moment has basically gold parity as Rascal has to flash. Jumps off Skull, but Hemo Plague not going to be too much of a big deal there as GRIFFIN only invest a couple of ultimates and not much more.
And one of the interesting things about Rascal's itemization here, he has the Executioner's Calling and the Titanic Hydra, but he has no cooldown reduction as he doesn't have the Black Cleaver. I am so sorry about that.
Yeah, not quite yet. Not quite yet. Being purchased. Rascal's going to teleport towards the bottom side. His extra Ruby Crystal going towards either his Kindle Gem or the Phage, or Pahave, as it were, as Tarzan. Not going to use the Arctic
First
Assault.
turret goes over to King Zone.
And like we were saying, that's a pretty high win rate for King Zone. So now it's evened things up. As King Zone are thinking about inner turrets as well. Deft likes tank turret shots by the looks of things. And Cuzz waiting in the wings. Chovy looking for a stun, gets it onto TusiN, but not much more than that.
Sure why King Zone elected to push up this entire wave to the bottom tier 2. There's realistically no way to capture it. And now because they waited a little while, they are a little bit behind on tempo in order to capture this Mountain Dragon. That's going to mean the Viper is basically back on the map. Chovy pushing the wave into mid, eating that pink ward that was placed right in front of the turret. Not quite in the protection range of the tier 1 mid turret. But that Twisted Fate turret is really healthy. And for a team composition that is essentially all melee, yes, Vladimir is ranged.
Yeah, but low range, yeah.
Yeah, it's an extremely short-range team composition. It should be pretty hard to actually raise this mid-tier 1 turret, even though they get some chip damage right now.
Yeah, 30 CS though is the lead for Chovy. Absolutely gigantic. Here for the Irelia in the mid lane. Naehyun does have the teleport available alongside the heal that he has, so he can get back to this mid lane pretty effectively. And Deft and TusiN should be able to hold on in the meantime. So what does King Zone's composition want to do later stages of the game? Is this a comp that wants to fight around an objective? Do they want to get sieges happening, or do they just want to dive with the play?
So I imagine that Aatrox in the later stages can actually go toe-to-toe with Twisted Fate, because Twisted Fate isn't the AD version, and so the damage once Aatrox has more tankier stats and whatnot shouldn't be unmanageable for him in the side lane with the World Ender.
Yep.
And so because of that, I don't think the 1-3-1 is totally available, but they might try to utilize it with Twisted Fate in the top lane and Kled in the bottom lane.
All right, so 1-3-1 potentially here for Kingzone.
It's a very wonky team composition, and how it actually pairs up against this Griffin one is a little scary, because if you do try to 1-3-1, the remaining members don't have a lot of wave clear, and traditionally that's not what Sona team compositions elect to do.
The thing that's interesting to me is that they have a lot of globals. You know, the Destiny Gate is going to be there from Naehyun, as well as the Abyssal Voyage.
Zanya's.
Yep, so Zanya's did come in, so he just wanted to have control ward slots, and I respect that. Sold the broken stopwatch, and then bought it again.
Alright.
I guess that was how it worked out.
So, he will have Zanya's, which is a little bit surprising for the reasons that I mentioned earlier.
Oh.
Where if Griffin's on top of him, he's essentially dead. But he can use the Zanya's to dodge a Sejuani ult.
He does. Deft can also avoid death by getting devoured by TusiN, so that is handy. And the Destiny, like you say, is going to be utilized. Naehyun's going to stay topside, though. He's looking to try and take down this top outer turret. And that will mean that Kingzone will have a gold advantage if he's able to get some free time and take this one out. Doesn't have a Sheen in his build just yet, but has almost stacked up his Rod of Ages. Decent stun there as Naehyun might need to be careful. Gets the stun onto Chovy.
There it is.
And Zonya's the ultimate. Vanguard's Edge not going to be giving Chovy anything now, as the Blade Surge will be on cooldown. Final chapter going to come in. Another Devour comes down, and Deft says that his Crescendo is better than that final chapter. Sanguine pull, but the knock-up is there, and Deft grabs that kill. Chovy now looking for a flanking opportunity, but Sword has to flash to get himself out of the way. TusiN,
walked a little too far forward.
God, is going to save himself, and now the picks are going to come forward. The red card, sorry, yellow card was there, but that's a double kill now for Deft, and they might consider just doing a Baron.
Yeah, they can potentially capture it. Tarzan's very, very low on HP. Rascal going around the other side, looking who's around, what are they trying to do?
Deft has teleport
Deft
available.
has teleport.
He's going to use
back.
it. Yeah, to get back in. Didn't have any mana at all. At that stage, teleport for Chovy in 15 seconds.
Viper's here, though.
He has actually landed, but the Smite needs to get into the pit. Tarzan needs to try and come in. It is going to be secured by Deft of all people. And the Sejuani's going to go down. That was a 50-50 from Kingzone, but they did manage to take it. Deft flashing forward to try and take down Lehends, but he's unable to do so, and the Zoomies will keep him up. Flash forward for Rascal, dives underneath that turret, jumps back onto Skull once again, and will secure that kill. And now they'll take down the turret and continue their onslaught.
And now with this Baron, they're going to be able to get a second Mountain Dragon, which is going to come in at a really key timing here.
And this is a Sona composition. What do we talk about for the key Drakes? Two Mountains, that's what you want.
You actually don't. Mountain is more valuable in the Sona team composition than Infernal. Almost always. Now, what happened here is pay attention to Chovy. So, Griffin's trying to take the team fight, but Deft, just the heals and the crescendo. Chovy steps a little too far forward. You can see right here, right there, that's the error as he moves past the middle of the scuttle. It's a little too close to the other members of Kingzone, eventually gets hit by the gold card. Really quick thinking, he tries to get as close to his teammates as possible, but he doesn't have flash, no way to get over the wall. 50-50, 8 HP.
Yep.
Buff Cinderhawk, right?
Yeah, gonna need to.
Chat,
they were leaving it so that he doesn't accidentally steal the Baron, but unfortunately, that's what you want to be doing. Yeah, make it happen. Figure it out. As okay, final chapter's going to come out again. Another crescendo is going to be the response as Lehends. Yuumi's going to get him back inside the Sona. Already taken out now as Griffin may have found the fight that they're looking for. The Vanguard's Edge is gigantic. Cuzz is going to be evaporated, and now Rascal has to get the hell out of there. The Devour comes in from TusiN, but the double kill comes forward, and Griffin say, nope. This was not the way this game was going to go. And you can have a Baron, but we'll get a quadra kill and ace you, and we'll win the game now. Thank you very much.
What the hell just happened during that replay for us to come back to live? And this is what's happening. The Mountain's going to go over to Griffin. They lost the Baron buff, and now the game has swung yet again. And the itemization, once it comes, let's take a look at, oh, they wanted to push mid-tier 1 turret instead of capture the Mountain, while the Kled and the Twisted Fate were fixing the side lanes. I got it. Crescendo comes out. Griffin quick to basically say, you guys overstepped, you're misplaying, and now you're just taking the team fight handily because Kingzone, they're all spread out.
Yeah, and they're also very low. TusiN didn't have any summoner spells remaining as well, and because that last team fight was so brutal, GRIFFIN are able to capitalize just being in the right place at the right time. And the quadra kill for Chovy is a sign of some pretty rough times to come.
Yeah.
For KingZone DragonX.
And this is a very hectic game. It's extremely close in the gold score, and I'm really trying to wrap my head on who would be ahead when I think about so many scenarios in my mind of seeing these champions collide. It's a little bit awkward to pair together because you normally don't see these champions. It's not so often that you get to watch Twisted Fate interact with a Sona in the team composition.
Yeah, hard to know what is going to eventuate once we get to the later stages. But well, we've got 4 teleports on this composition, might I add.
Yeah, what I'm imagining is that the threshold for Vladimir and Irelia, once they hit 3 items and once Aatrox hits 2 items, I think the damage output is so high that several of the members on Kingzone are just susceptible to immediate death. And I think that's when it turns for
Well,
Griffin.
I mean, Cuzz might be one of them. As TusiN's going to gobble him up. The Devour utilized pretty effectively, but Viper dives into the backline. The Sanguine Pool keeping him alive for so long. That Hemo Plague heal was absolutely gigantic, and GRIFFIN, they've found their team fights now at 25 minutes into this game, and it looks like Kingzone just don't have enough in the tank.
Yeah, I think the champions are just a little bit too susceptible. They're going to try to transition possibly into the smoke and mirrors, but I already said that's not what a Soda team composition wants to be doing.
Nope. You want to be keeping everyone alive with those heals. You want as many people there to peel for the Sona as possible. Kingzone had this composition that I understand why it would seem like a good idea, right? Because you can all collapse when they try and hit the Sona if you are all coordinated, but unfortunately, they just couldn't get everyone there in time.
Well, we look at this and we ask, well, why is Cuzz invading the red side jungle? Why is he so far forward? He gets caught out immediately. TusiN goes down shortly thereafter, and then Deft shortly follows. Destiny comes out by Naehyun. He immediately goes down into bottom lane, but they're going to be reduced to this 1-3-1 type of team play. Now, Rascal doesn't have teleport, however, Naehyun does.
Yep.
So Rascal can be the one that is going to be positioned now in top lane. But with GRIFFIN having a Mountain Dragon now, the Baron is pretty easy. Another Mountain is spawning in 2 minutes. And Lichbane not yet completed for Twisted Fate. I'm curious what the allocation of lanes will turn into for Kingzone. I think that you have to have Kled match the Aatrox later.
Feels a little bit like a rock and a hard place once again here, though, for Kingzone. Just not a lot of great options as GRIFFIN just looks so comfortable. Moving into the later stage of the game, 7, 1, and 3 for Chovy right here on the Irelia. 10 KDA lockdown already. And him paired with Tarzan on this Sejuani is just so frightening. Charge going to be used defensively. Rascal, of course, no targets available at the end of that one. And when you've got Kled using his ultimate in order to escape, that's when you know things are going wrong.
That's a pretty big ultimate that is extremely important for this team composition. Perhaps GRIFFIN now just going to wait on their next item completions.
Yep. It is only 1,000 gold to lead here for GRIFFIN after all is said and done. But remember, this was Kingzone turning around a team fight, picking up a Baron, getting stuff done, and then honestly falling flat on their faces.
I would actually love to see what Twisted Fate's passive is at right now inside of this game.
Oh, yeah.
As that can definitely be influencing the ability to stay close in gold.
Yeah, within touching distance right now, actually, which is quite impressive against a 7, 1, and 3. Irelia clearing out minion waves left, right, and center. Has the Tiamat available, not the Titanic Hydra just yet, but I have a feeling that is going to be completed soon as GRIFFIN just dive onto this Baron buff. It's going to go down extraordinarily quickly. The Destiny does come out. The gate will be available, but this Baron may just be taken. Like you say, the ultimate was already utilized, and Baron is just going to go to GRIFFIN. No response from Kingzone at all.
Well, now with Griffin, with the Baron, Sona team compositions are not particularly good at resisting Baron. And unlike Kingzone, Griffin are going to charge to their Mountain Dragon.
Yeah, and they should be able to take it pretty comfortably.
They're going to be able to get that. Irelia should come off the fountain with the Titanic Hydra. And Aatrox, does he have his Death Dance? Yes, he does. So he has his Death Dance, Titanic Hydra completed for Irelia.
Good God, the item spikes are actually huge.
Yeah, they are
done for
so
Tarzan and the
massive
hat.
right now. And so this is what I was talking about earlier, where it's difficult to envision how the team fights will actually transpire in the mid to late transition, which is what's happening right now. But there's no denying how strong these champions are with these particular item spikes. And when you look at the champions on the side of Kingzone, the HP values will melt.
Oh, yeah.
Very quickly to these champions. And when you have a Twisted Fate who isn't particularly good with the Sona, it's not hard to probably think that this is really where Griffin shines, and they're ahead.
And they have Baron, and they have double Mountain Drake now completed. Their ability to siege, despite their low range, will certainly be something that you're not going to need to worry about if you're a Griffin fan. Because Chovy, if he gets any time with this turret, it's going to disintegrate. Kingzone moving on down. They don't want to let him actually get into melee range against it. Tarzan waiting with Lehends in the enemy jungle, just making sure that no one can safely path towards a position where Chovy could be in trouble.
Looks like Aatrox up there in the top lane trying to split push right now. They do have to be a little bit careful to not overextend recklessly.
Yep, Rascal's going to be able to answer relatively well. I mean, 3-1 and 3 so far for the Kled. He's actually probably in a stronger situation than Sword, although Baron might skew things just a little bit. So going to be able to defend. I don't think Sword's going to be able to land any dives or anything like that. And Titanic Hydra allows Rascal to comfortably clear. Yeah, I need to be a little bit careful there, as Wind Becomes Lightning does not find any targets. And Griffin still considering going for a dive, as Cuzz able to get away from that prowling projectile very nicely.
A little bit of slow gameplay here. Double cannon.
Yeah, that feels
All
bad.
right. You know what, Sword? He just let them die.
He did.
He doesn't like cannons.
Apparently not.
Not a big fan.
Well, Chovy will be able to clear out some vision here, bottom side of the map. Kingzone decide, nope, we can't defend this inner turret. You have finally won, and they will give that one up. But base not broken just yet, and Naehyun's going to park himself in front of the inhibitor turret. Back timing achieved from Kingzone, as Deft moves back down bottom side just to help clear this minion wave. It's not over yet. Fat Lady hasn't sung, but she's warming up her vocal cords at this point. Griffin certainly looking good. 6,000 gold is now the lead. That has ballooned. In recent times, the inhibitor turret will be taken down. Tarzan diving in, Chovy just bouncing around with the Blade Surge, looking for an opportunity, looking for a way to get forward. Sword now joins the rest of his team. You can see 4 health bars, but there are 5 champions here. Lehends does eventually pop out, as the inhibitor is taken pretty comfortably here from Griffin.
60,000 to 54,000 is currently the score. Baron buff. 2.5 minutes remaining, but Griffin are really playing like Captain Careful right now.
Yeah, they're not allowing Kingzone to have any freak team fights to bring them back in. I respect that. However, I think that Griffin probably should feel like they're a bit stronger than they otherwise are, given the fact that they have hit such amazing item timings. Tarzan with his Knight's Vow and Zeke's Convergence can turn someone into a raid boss. And then it gets really, really difficult to contend with this composition out of Griffin, despite them not having a traditional hyper carry. They have a Vladimir and an Irelia, and sounds a bit hyper carry-ish to me.
And right now they're just continuing to clear out the waves and everything, perhaps waiting on Viper to hit 16 before looking for the next team fight. Spirit Visage now completed for Aatrox as he does march his way down top lane. I was going to say up top lane, but
I mean, that's what it is.
It's on the red side. No, he's on the red side.
On the red side, so he's going down. Okay, yeah, good point.
Down.
All
Okay.
right. So marching down the top lane, confusing, but correct.
Do you think it's a little bit weird that the red team goes down, the blue team goes up?
No, why?
Like red is bad, so it goes down, and blue's good, so it goes up.
like the good guys are on the blue
Yeah.
side, so they're the ones going up.
Ooh, what if that's it? What if, you know what? It's no longer blue versus red team. It's hero versus villain.
Well, I mean, we already knew this because of Star Wars, right?
Right.
Red lightsabers
See,
equal
that's
bad.
what I'm alluding to right
Yeah.
now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thanks. You know, it used to be called purple.
What?
The team, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It used to be called purple. That's gross.
It is a bit strange.
It is really weird because purple contains blue.
Well,
You know?
Destiny's going to come forward. That's a decent stun, though, as Chovy looking to try and turn this one around. They want to get this pick, as that's a decent use of the ultimate.
Yeah.
And now Chovy dives into the back line. Kingzone, we're going for one last desperation play. That's exactly what it was. Griffin turn it on its head and just destroy the Kingzone roster. Sword gonna flash after Rascal.
Oh.
He wants to find Scarl once again, but in the meantime, Griffin have done the Griffin thing, teleported into your base, and they will be getting the most important 50 gold. 17-7 is going to be the scoreline. It was a really interesting game. The draft was really fun, but ultimately, it was a Griffin victory, and they are unflappable. No matter what kind of weird composition you throw at them, they'll know the answer.
All right, well, so far, this has been a very interesting series, as I don't know how Kingzone managed to botch the post-Dragon as we were watching the replay, but Griffin's team composition, like we were talking about in the game, once it hits those item thresholds where the champions just deal so much damage, combined with their base scaling, the squishies on the side of Kingzone couldn't really stand up to them, and the team fights were just slaughters.
Yeah. And I'm with you. I'm a bit confused as to what happened. You know, when Kingzone took the Baron, we were thinking, yeah, that sounds great. You know, that's exactly what this composition wants, as early as possible on the Baron buff, and then start pushing some turrets, utilizing the siege potential of the infinite heals coming out of your Sona. But then we come back to live, and then instantly everyone's dead. And Kingzone haven't quite managed to find it. I liked how quick this game was. I liked how fast the pace was. It did go relatively long, but the fact that both of these teams were playing quickly, was certainly a positive, but just too many mistakes on the Kingzone side, and they just didn't find their windows and effectively capitalize.
Well, Griffin probably feeling quite comfortable after that game number one. They almost threw it away, though, in front of that Baron.
That was a bit of a worry.
And just the items on Irelia make this so problematic. I like that. Chovy turns back around, almost inviting everything to come in. And Kingzone, they really misunderstood how this whole fight would transpire. This was like a Hercule versus Cell mode.
It was.
You ever see that?
Yep.
Yeah, it was good.
Actually, really. Yeah, I enjoyed that saga a lot.
Yeah.
Cell Saga.
Cell Saga was the best saga.
It was.
Okay. Glad that we're in agreement.
Yeah, I certainly agree. Certainly agree. Although Hercule was very annoying.
What?
I thought he was annoying.
He saved the world. Didn't you watch the ending?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Better turn on your TV next time. Hercule saved the day.
I'm doing the Arthur fist right now.
Nice.
If you guys remember that meme. But as you can see, Kingzone did have themselves that small island of success in the middle of that gold graph, as you can see. Oh. But then the island sort of dipped down, and we had a big shelf, and the waves would be great, that particular beach. But unfortunately, it was a Griffin victory for those Kingzone fans out there, and Griffin just looked like an unstoppable force heading forward, and I'm very excited to see what they can make of their matchups at Rift Rivals, as well as what they can do in game number 2. We'll be back after the break for more Kingzone vs. Griffin.
이거 아트 집랑 기다려.
내주 있다. 집 가도 돼?
나 일부러 물려볼게.
예, 다 있다. 살다.
야, 나 물려한다. 나 물려한다. 물려한다.
맞아.
맞아 저기 있다. 여기 있다.
가자. 갈때 고고고고고. 가져왔어.
캔치.
끝내자. 미드. 탈탈게. 나타.
나 데려가줘라. 됐어. 데려가줘. 끝났어. 아, 게임 되게 위험했다.
이거 잘했어.
아 이겼어. 됐어.
나
탈주하자. 천천히 너무 급하게 하지 마. 너무 급했다.
그러니까 이거 좀
이제
미안했다. 내가 미드 던졌어.
라운드 체크. 탑. 선수 말씀해주세요.
탑이야. 탑 안 보여. 탑이야. 탑.
선수를 다 잘 들리시나요? 네. 1번에 추가. 달콤네.
우리 언니 또 죽었다. 손 좀 사라. 뭐하냐.
야.
빠지기
이성아, 자동 공격 꺼. 뭐라고? 자동 공격 끄라고. 너 CS 너무 많이 먹어. 너볼 맘이야.
나는 리시를
볼
잘하는
맘,
탑라이너.
볼수록 맘에 안
리시
들어.
없이 못 살아.
야, 우연히는 그냥 아무 말도 왜 이렇게 크냐?
시작에 차단 기능 없어?
그러니까 차단기는 없냐고.
다들 수군대는 걸 자기는
시끄러.
무슨 말이
아니 시끄럽다고 좀.
잖아. 기년이 따라 불러주면 안 할게.
같이 좀 불러줘 빨리. 너무 시끄러워.
기년 나 오늘 컨디션 최고. 내가 캐리함?
캐리.
너 빨리 노래 불러.
미안하다.
빨리 기년 불러줘.
빨리 같이 불러줘. 너무
기인이 형이 따라
시끄러워.
불러주면 안 한다고.
시끄러.
김기인의 삐삐 한번 듣고 싶어. 삐삐.
너 카메라가 너무 날 부담스럽게 갖고 있는데. 눈싸움 할까?
너가 무조건 져.
갔다.
조커. 나오는 거 있는 거 맞아?
아니요?
아니잖아.
안 나오고 계세요. 빨간불 들어오면 얘기들이.
빨간불 들어와야 나오는 거야?
네네네. 저기가 이제 나와요. 포즈 한번 잡아주고.
카메라 의식하는 조 충성.
충성.
충성이야.
충성 한번 해줘.
그래?
지금 나온 중인데.
나한테 왜 그래?
두꺼비.
재미없어.
우태한테 갔다 나이스. 보여줘. 네가 보여줘.
두꺼비.
빨간불 저쪽에 켜져 있는 거 아니야?
가만히 있을게요.
아닌가?
간다.
파이팅. 하나보다.
야, 나 가자. 나 이거 가져가면 돼, 이거.
아마.
해볼게, 그럼. 가볼게. 아트. 높냐? 잡은 거 같아. 나 미드 됐잖아, 미드 밀게.
역시 오늘의 승리 빅코르.
난 너가 성장 기대치 높고까지 좋겠어, 선수야.
코르키 가자. 나이스. 죽겠다, 혼자. 야, 닦아. 다 높을.
나이스.
천천히 해.
다 비켜.
선수야.
가자.
다 비키세요.
나이스.
맞아, 너 너무 좋아, 선수야. 너무 좋아, 진짜로.
야, 바다적 같은데, 이거?
우리 탑 다이브 치자.
야, 이거 살짝 잡아.
그라 배치기 없어. 그라.
그라.
빼.
야 방금 레전드 찍었어. 나 뭐야?
너냐, 김원주?
나 뭐야?
끝난 거 같아. 천천히. 갈게.
나이스. 쌀이 제려.
이겼다. 선수야.
이거 나이스.
선수야.
야 호수야.
선수야.